Are you hiding out in your business and life because you've got fear? Are you subordinating to other people because you think, what would they think about me? Well, I'm here to tell you, girlfriend, you've got to overcome that fear. If you truly want to own your power, that's the secret sauce. And today's show is all about being fearless and believing in yourself. When you have that combination, you can unlock the leader within you. So stay tuned and have fun.
Frankie Lee, dimmi, quale senso della vita?
The meaning of life is to live la dolce vita, which is the formula for fabulous living.
Hi, my name is Heather Picken, and welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, the formula for fabulous living. I'm the catalyst in helping you to be more confident, create your dream business, and attract elite clients and live a fabulous life. Here's Heather helping you to upgrade your life to
Fabulous. Upgrade your life to fabulous. Right, Frankie? You're fabulous.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, the formula for fabulous living. And today I have a fabulous guest, Mary Ann Halpin, and she calls herself the goddess of photography. I love that. And today we're going to be talking about the formula for fearless living and having fun, you know, when you're overcoming the challenges. I absolutely love this. This is going to be an awesome topic. And I just want to share a little story how Mary Ann and I connected. So we're Facebook friends, and I'm always looking for amazing guests, you know, all over the world that, you know, really stand out. They've got a formula for living a fabulous life, and they've got something that I feel is unique that they're offering. And so I was doing a Facebook Live video, and Mary Ann was saying, hey, I want to send my book over to you. And I'm like, sure, that sounds amazing. And so this is her book, one of her books, Fearless Women, Visions of a New World. And what I love about this book is, you know, it's got stories of women and their journey and these beautiful photographs. So I just love it. So Mary Ann, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's really great I love Zoom because we can just connect all over the world. And here I am. I'm up in the mountains above Los Angeles, and you're in Southern California, right?
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're in Seattle. Where you're on the West Coast here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You're in Seattle. So it's the most amazing thing. I was on a Zoom with somebody in Taiwan last night. So that it's a wonderful technology. But
I love it. Yeah, the power of connecting with people all over the world. And we're actually broadcasting this on 2 platforms. So if you're listening on iTunes, you can go over to heatherpicken.com, click on the blog or the podcast, and you can see us here. It's always it's always interesting to do that. So Mary Ann, let's dive right into this topic, because I think it's one of the most important topics, you know, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're going through, you know, challenges of life, like how do you navigate around that? And we're going to be talking about that today, because I think that is the secret sauce to living a fabulous life and doing anything that is extraordinary. So can you share a little bit about your journey and some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in your life?
Well, I think all my projects really reflect my life. And I started first as a model when I was a teenager, then an actress and a singer and a dancer. And I actually started photography because all my actor friends needed headshots. So that was about a little over 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I know I'm going to be 65 this year.
Awesome.
Shock and awe.
That's right.
But that's the thing about it, is that living a fearless life is really about reinvention. It's about really just finding the joy in life. And so I have always been like a lot of my friends will look at me as a Pollyanna because I love playing the glad game. You know, I love to, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, my favorite movie as a kid. Let's play the glad game. And so that has been my journey. And so it's been my journey to inspire women mostly, and men hopefully too. But because I'm a woman, I want to inspire women. So I in photography, I was really troubled by all the actresses, the young actresses that I would photograph, who really were just, troubled and having anxiety because they let the industry dictate how they were supposed to look, the perfection of who they were supposed to be, supposedly. Too thin, they were too short, too whatever. And I talked a number of people out of liposuction. I think it's dangerous. That's just my stance. And just embrace themselves as a perfect in maybe an imperfect way. Because I think there is such beauty in imperfection. Being perfect it's a little overrated, I think. So I started a figure study project, and because I wanted to do all shapes and sizes of women. And so the first woman who came to me was pregnant. And I've never had a child. And I thought, well, this is interesting. And she kept wanting to take her clothes off. And I was like, what do I do with this? So it eventually went from being a figure study project to being a book of pregnant portraits, which came out in 97 and called Pregnant Goddesshood, A Celebration of Life. And it really was the first book of pregnant portraits that came out. And it's funny because be careful what you wish, because I wanted people to feel something. Well, I didn't know that people were so closed down about women's bodies still. And, the end of the last century, in the 90s, I thought, why did Barnes and Noble say they didn't want to carry this book because it would offend their customers? Why did a mothering magazine say it was offensive because I was showing naked bellies? Nobody was really totally naked. It was very appropriate. And so it was really an interesting journey of a lot of publicity. Got on The View, Inside Edition. Everybody was talking about, is this, how controversial is this? And now it's not a big deal. You see pregnant women's bellies all the time, but back then it was really interesting. It was almost like, Lucy and Desi on, the Lucy show, they called it With Child. She wasn't, you'd never say pregnant on television. So I thought we were beyond that, but we weren't. So it kind of blazed the trail for all the pregnant portraits that are going on today. And it's very, very common, very popular, which I think is beautiful. And so halfway through the book, I realized why I was doing it is because I hadn't quite reconciled the fact that I couldn't have a child.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, duh, I should have a dent in my head from all the...
It makes sense because your voids, whatever you perceive is missing through your senses, creates a value, and you will seek that. You will do those things in your life or in your business. So you connected to that, and I think that's amazing.
I think creatives do that. If we really are in that fearless creative mode of letting the creative, letting the muse, letting spirit kind of move through us, that those things do happen. And I know it's profound for me because I'm business-wise, I don't know if it's the smartest thing, but I lead so much with my creative heart from when I was, I can remember, is that I just go, I do what's in front of me. And sometimes that's not the smartest thing. It's not the most, financially sound thing, but I just get very inspired and passionate about it. And some of my family think I'm kind of crazy because, I just go out on a limb, and sometimes, but I don't regret anything. I really don't. Books are expensive to make. They take you through such a journey. as anybody knows, and you've done a book, and I mean, whether it's a photography book or if it's a written word book, it really takes you on this extraordinary journey to face your fears.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I'm going to say about fearlessness, and I think the journey of my fearless journey, which began with my second book, Fearless Women Midlife Portraits. We will segue into that. What?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ooh, beautiful.
All in black and white.
Mm.
It was, and I did it with two women, the authors. They did the text and I did all the photography. It was challenging to work with two other women too. I think my ego really reared its ugly head because I wanted it. I'd never worked with anybody before. So, I mean, we did create a really beautiful book and I'm really proud of it. But I tell you, be careful what you name your projects, because that's the lesson. That's the path. That's the obstacle in the path. I just read this. I think I told you I read this book called The Obstacle is the Path.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny that you said that.
Yeah.
Obstacles the way. Yeah. It's funny because there's a quote I like to use by one of my mentors, and it goes something like this: although we seek people to praise us and support us in our vision, it's those people that challenge us that make us grow. Both are necessary. We need both support and challenge in order for us to grow. And this has been proven in biology. So we grow the most, by having both. And I can also look at my life and all the people that have challenged me. Excuse me. I always say my best lessons have come from men in relationships, because they taught me to own my power and when I was disempowered. And so I love what you're speaking to, is that, we have to be fearless in our pursuits. We have to go out and make it fun. So how can we, because I know a lot of women, they get really in their mind, they really get in their head and they allow their emotions to rule them. So how can they really shift from freaking out and being fearful to fearless and having fun with it?
Oh, well, I think a lot of it comes with age too. I think that now I just don't give a shit so much,
Yeah.
So, but I think that, I've heard it said that the opposite of love is fear. And they're both 4-letter words, interestingly enough. And I always say, fear less, love more. Really, we will never be without fear. And fear is actually a great motivator. And so I think that if we can really live in a grateful heart and love as much as we can, just love people where they're at. Really love people where they're at. When you start to see that it's really not about you, it changes everything.
Right.
Because there's a wonderful little story that 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. He tells a story where he's in a subway, and he's sitting there, and there's a man that gets on with a bunch of screaming kids, and they're acting up, and the man is just sitting there kind of looking down. And everybody is annoyed by these kids, thinking, wow, what kind of a dad is he? You could just see. So Stephen Covey turns to him and he says, you should really get your kids in line. They're upsetting a lot of people. He goes, I know, I should. We just came from the hospital and their mother just died. And Stephen Covey it just spun him around, and he just started consoling him and helping him and loving him. But here's the thing, it's just such a beautiful story, because you never know where people are at. You never know why they react. You don't know, why they're so crusty. And I actually love crusty people. I do. And I heard once somebody say, like if you have clients that are on your chicken list, everybody says that. She says, I have a lobster list. She goes, because I love lobster, because it's very expensive. And they have this hard shell on the outside, and inside this yummy, tender meat. And so, just the thing about it, I don't know why I brought that up, but you know, when people are crusty and you take it personally, it creates unhappiness. But if you can make the challenge and make the game, the glad game, back to the glad game, and make it a point to just smile at somebody, a stranger, every day. I always love to just give some love to, you know, people in checking me out at the market, or gosh, I love that necklace, or, you know, and you could just see their chi, their energy just kind of, you know, because everybody kind of goes through and they're in their own little world and they're texting and they're, you know, and it's like, we need to really just really love each other in just this really simple way. And that will dispel the fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you're saying. And it's also, you know, about learning how to communicate and other people's values. I talk about that a lot because no two people on the planet have the same vantage point of how they're interpreting the world. And so, you know, especially if you're in a relationship, you know, one of the biggest fights, you know, people have this miscommunication. And so if you understand what's important to them, not try to change them, communicate to them in their values, then, you know, it's easier to navigate and kind of quote unquote, get what you want. And it same goes for clients, you know, kind of understanding what's important to them. For example, I don't have children, so I'm working with clients, and if they do have children, I have to understand how to coach them in their business and show them if they have a highest value on a child, how creating that business is actually going to, you know, be better for their relationship with the child. And of course, you know, building wealth in their business.
Right. No, I love what you do. I think it's phenomenal. And I think the thing I was attracted to you on your Facebook Live is that the authenticity that you have and the joy that you have in your, you know, there are a lot of people that are coaches and that, you know, but there's not an authenticity. There's an ego in the way that they present, or the way, and I love that your spirit was about, I could feel that you're really about giving and about supporting. And I think that's what we all have to do. It's so hard.
Yeah.
You know, because my husband keeps me in check a lot. He goes, watch your ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to have both. It's good to, you know, of course, have the ego, but then of course, you know, see yours to kind of have that balanced perspective. I know for me and my mission is that, you know, I love empowering women, because when you're disempowered, especially when it comes to money, all the other areas get affected. And it's been proven that if you're disempowered in 5 areas of your life, that's when domestic violence, you know, takes place. So you've got to own your power. You know, this message for women, you've got to own your power and who you are, and get yourself in check, whether it be, you know, you have a career and it's not going so great. You've got to empower yourself financially. You've got to empower yourself mentally and know that you're worthy of living a fabulous life.
Yeah, it's about self-love. It really is. And I mean, how can we love others if we don't love ourselves? You know, it just, then that becomes the victim mentality. And I always like the phrase, there are no victims, just volunteers. You know?
Absolutely.
And so my friends, I'm a little tough sometimes, because they'll, if they start complaining too much, I go, oh, really? Okay, well, how's that working for you? So stop it.
Yeah. It's funny. I can be kind of the same way. It's kind of a fine line, like coaching your friends. But when you see someone that is clearly, you know, kind of going off the rails, it's like you actually are a good friend to them. If you're saying, come on, girlfriend, like, let's get your stuff together. Let's look at this. Let's be real. Let's have a real conversation and really look at what's going on here. Because, you know, if you're complaining about your life and you're not doing anything to change it, then you're just playing in the victim, you know, you're playing in the victim mode, and nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I love my women friends. I have such amazing, creative, powerful women in my life that have foundations, that producing films, that are writing books, they're accomplishing such great things. And a lot of times I always say, but are you taking care of yourself? You know, right. How are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking a break? Are you breathing? And that's the thing. And I think it's really a mirror for myself as well, is that we have to really support each other in not being judgmental, but saying, hey, can I be real with you for a moment?
Absolutely.
And say, I see you really running around like with your chicken head, with a chicken with your head cut off, and you're creating these amazing things, but are you taking care of yourself? So
Exactly.
and I feel so blessed to have this cabin. You can see our logs in the back here, that we can run to, which is only 70 miles north of Los Angeles. And it's so quiet and peaceful. And we have bears and, all kinds of critters up here. And it's really wonderful to be able to get away. But I love the city and I love the mountains. I can kind of put a foot in both places.
Yeah, it's like the perfect balance, to have the city and then the quiet life. And I think everyone is different, but you've got to find what really allows you to balance. And I know particularly I had this issue because I always like to work. And so I would get ridiculed by my family going, oh, you're always working. You're doing that. Like, you don't have a life. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm on a mission. This is what I love to do. My vocation is my vacation. I'm so committed. And that might not look like the same thing for everyone just because I don't have children. Although now I have a boyfriend that has a kid. So now I'm integrating that into my life now. And so it's a new set of challenges and obstacles. So,
I think it's really important for us to create a sacred space for ourselves, whether it is like for me, it's in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I have a place called the Circle of Gratitude that I like going to. But sometimes, and even in LA, I try to have, I have like my little place where I can sit and I can look out and I can, meditate. And, it's my sacred space. And that's really important. And setting up our environment to be a real safe haven, because what's going on in the world is pretty scary. And I think as warrior women and as those on the path of really helping to empower women and men and do good in the world, I think it's real important for us to be on our game as far as, really putting out more love. And so that goes back to really creating that sacred space and making sure that we're filled before we can go out, because it's a pretty tough place energetically right now in the world.
It absolutely is. And one of the things, I like what you said about meditation, that you have this practice of meditation. That is a requirement. So I'm working with my elite clients. One of the things that I show them how to do is meditate in a way where it dissolves the fear. And they are literally a magnet to attract clients because, I have been there years ago where I have lost everything. I was thrown out in the middle of the night. I had no place to go, no car, living on my credit cards, had to live with a complete stranger that I found on Craigslist. This is a boyfriend that threw me out. And so, like I said, my biggest lessons have come from men. And in that moment of being fearful, I turned that into an intention. The intention was, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm sick of running this pattern. I'm sick of attracting men that don't value me when I was really not valuing myself. And so I put myself into that meditative state to where, okay, I'm going to ground myself. So, everyone I really believe needs that meditative practice. And I am not rigid. I don't know what your philosophy is, but I'm not rigid. Like you got to sit up straight. I actually lie down for my meditations. I do a lot of different styles of meditation. But I think the whole point of it is quieting your mind, because when you're quieting your mind and seeing yourself as a leader, none of the outside forces, really matter, because it's all your perspective anyways.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be a strict practice. If I lay down, I'll probably fall asleep, but 5 minutes a day. There's a great book that I read called The Miracle Morning.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. I read that.
Yeah. And it's wonderful because it really there's a practice of getting up earlier, sitting and meditating for at least 5 minutes a day. And it's just stilling your mind. Just focus on your breath. It's not a big deal. You don't have to have a mantra.
Right.
Or you can. I mean, if it's hard to keep your mind, because the mind will go like, the clouds, let it flow through, But you can say, you can come up with something like, I am pure light, or I am love, and just focus on those words. And it just makes you feel so good. And then journaling and reading 30 minutes of something inspirational, and affirmation, and then a little bit of exercise or stretching or something like that. And if you do all those things when you first start your day, boy, you have an incredible productive day.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. So encourage everyone to have some kind of mindful practice, stick to it. I know when my clients do it, their whole attitude changes. They can have a crappy day, and that's just the way the business, is. It's never linear. So you've got to have a practice where it takes you out of that funky state so that you are really a master of your life. You're mastering your mind, and you see things on the way instead of in the way. So Mary Ann, I know time is kind of passing us by, or it's going by so quickly. So, and we talked about, and I love this conversation about being a fearless woman. I actually have today my fearless bracelet.
Ooh, I love that.
I believe.
Cool.
And I actually talk about like this ring. You can't see it, but it says, be true to your dreams. And I actually bought this ring years ago when my boyfriend at the time kicked me out. And I said, you know what? This is a symbol, a reminder that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to help women that are on the path to really being leaders, that see themselves as leaders, and I will not stop. So I appreciate you so much and sharing your message, everyone. This book, where can they get this book, Fearless Women?
Well, they can get it on Amazon, but if they want to contact me directly, they can go to maryanhalpin.com. and just order it through me, and so I can personally sign it to you.
Awesome. Great. And we will have it in the show notes. So if you're watching us on video or on YouTube or iTunes, you can just go to the show notes and then grab the link there, or click on the link, and then you can order Mary Ann's book. So any last words before we leave today about being fearless and having fun?
Well, I think, when we're talking about rings, I wear a butterfly ring.
Ooh.
And I just love the metaphor of the butterfly, that the wings are very, very fragile, but strong, that the butterfly is all about transformation. So know that sometimes when you are in the middle of breaking down, which is like the butterfly has to break down to mush in order to transform from the caterpillar into the butterfly. So it has to break down in order to release the imaginal discs. I love that. So that, and then it needs the struggle of the getting through the cocoon. It needs that struggle to build the wings so that it can fly and be strong. Otherwise, if it gets help, it could be crippled or die. So use the metaphor of the butterfly in your own life, and just know that when you're in breakdown, it's really breakthrough, and embrace it and learn from it and move forward and just do good in the world and have a good time. Life is too short, girlfriends and boyfriends.
I love that, Mary Ann. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today and your words of encouragement and really empowering other women with your work.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to leave a final message for people that are watching us or listening to this on iTunes, is that, you're here to do extraordinary things. Never doubt yourself. Never doubt your greatness. Find the formula that makes you most unique and authentic, because I'm here to tell you, when you waken that leader within, people will follow you. You will create just this magnificent path. And of course, there'll be challenges along the way, but embrace the fear, have fun with it, and you'll see that your life will change. Until next time, this is Heather Picken. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. So if you found this show to be fabulous, share with your fabulous friends, rate, review, and subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. And I'll make sure I take a beatbox lesson, right? Or give my little chihuahua a bone. That's me. Fabulous.